Yeah, let me just see if this works. Cool, it works. Yeah, so I work at PSE. We do a lot of programmable cryptography, cool stuff. Come talk to us. We have a booth there. But yeah, this is MACI in 5 minutes and why private voting is important. Just an agenda. We'll talk through what is MACI, why do we need it, how it works, and just look into the future. So MACI stands for Minimal Anti-Collusion Infrastructure, and in a nutshell, it's a protocol that allows to run private on-chain voting. These are some of the properties that we try to push. So collusion resistance is increased because there's only one entity which can be certain of the validity of the vote. If that is trusted, then things get a little bit better than other voting protocols. You cannot really prove how you voted because all the votes are encrypted. You can also, you can edit a vote by nullifying it, but whatever is sent on chain must be processed. And even if we talk about this trusted entity, the coordinator, even if they are malicious, they cannot really produce any false output of the vote. So why do we need this? I mean, I think voting is a very sensible topic. Bribery and collusions happens everywhere, and I think something that a lot of people find very close to, and it's great to work on this for that reason. But yeah, like, let's take an example like quadratic funding or voting, where more people coming together can actually make a difference. But if it's easy to collude, then the results can be gamed. And also think like, if you know how people vote, then you can also be conditioned. Like, there's some people just don't want to spend some time going through the candidates or whatever you're voting for, and you see like a famous person, oh cool, I voted for this, why don't I just do it? But if you don't really know, they cannot prove to you that that's their valid vote, then you could just maybe think for yourself. And then bribery is reduced because it's hard to prove and it's hard to collude. And our goal is to make voting more democratic and fair. So in a nutshell, the architecture, the smart contracts that work on any EVM chain. There's some circuits that are used to prove that all the votes sent are valid or invalid. And the tally circuit, which tallies all the vote. So these are run by this trusted entity, the coordinator, and all the results are posted on chain for everyone to verify. Yeah, there's some SDKs and TypeScript stuff if people want to integrate it. Hopefully you do. And yeah, how does it work? As a user flow, you come and register into the platform. You register with your MACI key, which is not to be confused with your Ethereum key. You can just prove you're human, prove you own a 2-pass ticket, and then you register into the system. Then you can send encrypted votes that only the coordinator is able to decrypt. And you also sign them with this MACI private key, so no one else can send votes on your behalf. And then as a user, after the coordinator processes everything, you want to verify that everything was done correctly. The votes are encrypted using a CDH, so there's a shared key between you and the coordinator. It is signed, and in the vote you specify who you're voting for, whether it's like a yes or no vote, or like you're giving some sort of weight in quadratic voting. And yeah, that's encrypted, sent on chain, fully encrypted, and you also send a public key that you used to generate a share key, so the coordinator can just reverse the process. To finalize, the coordinator just takes all of the votes and just all the events from these smart contracts, and then just generates the ZK proofs using the circuits that we talked about. And they'll just post them on chain. They cannot censor any vote. They cannot prove something that is not happened. So that's some of the cool stuff about it. And yeah, looking into the future, what we try to do is to make it easier for people to use and actually get someone to use it. Some of the research topics that we have in plan is to actually decentralize this coordinator figure using MPC and try and make it even more harder to collude. There might be some time to also look into new voting mechanisms or like funding mechanisms that could be integrated. And maybe we'll also be thinking how to just rethink the architecture and kind of integrate it with a lot of other PSE protocol like Semaphore, RNR, and Exubia. Okay, so we are running a Devcon QV round. There's like 250K put by the impact teams, Devcon, so you can go and vote. You can try MACI. You just need to prove you're an attendee by using Zupas. This is what it looks like. Just try it out. Just be gentle, because, yeah, just be gentle with this app. Don't break it, please. But yeah, that's just showcase how MACI work. And yeah, that's it. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Alessandro. Questions? Do you want to try this one for me? Thanks.
Oh. Sorry, dude.
You mentioned at one point that there was a proof of humanity required for the voting. How do we achieve that without relying on a centralized entity? And also, how do you protect against Sybil attacks in your voting chain?
Yeah, that's a good question. So to prevent Sybil attacks, we have this concept of gatekeepers. So you need to prove, that's fully customizable. So whoever runs the vote will say, hey, I'm only accepting someone that proves it's a Devcon, so by scanning the ticket, or like own something, like an NFT and other things. So that's how you protect against Sybils. So MACI is only as good as the Sybil solution that you decide to use. And for the trusted assumption is that this coordinated figure could be removed with the MPC. So you have like a collaborative snark. I mean, I'm not really going into this stuff. So at a high level, just like instead of having one coordinator, you'd have multiple, and there might be some sort of consensus, some sort of way of how to say, to make it hard for them to also not post the results and not collude between themselves. But yeah, that's probably where we're going. And there's some smart people in PSC that already thought how MACI would look with MPC. So hopefully we'll be able to implement that very soon.
I think we have a question at the back there.
In the beginning, the receipt freeness of the vote, and that it's impossible to show who you voted for. But what if the user would simply share their private keys and then reveal everything that they did? They would still be able to prove the vote in that situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the thing is, like, when you cast a vote, you can nullify it. So, you know, I show you, hey, I voted for this, but then you couldn't trust me that I actually did, unless the coordinator colludes with this other entity. And yeah, one of the other issues is if you give out your key, then they will be able to, like, post votes on your behalf. So, like, it's up to the user to not sell the key. Yeah, that would, you know, that would kind of mess up with the system as well. And hopefully we'll be able to find some good solution for that. Yeah.
I think there's a system called something with bear vote, like the animal, that has a property like you need an additional salt to prove that it was actually you. And if you provide a wrong salt in the proving process, the result comes off of somebody else's vote.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this, to be honest, but yeah, if you just hit me up later and just describe this, that'd be interesting to talk about.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have some question. There is any possibility you have a credential for get quadratic voting about your knowledge? For example, you know computer science, and there is a proposal for some upgrade in the system. There is any possibility to do this?
So like to automate like some sort of execution after the tally is produced?
Yeah, the proposal is made,
okay.
You get a vote, and the calculation about your knowledge is the quadratic voting.
And then there's some sort of action that happens after? Like that's what you mean, like in, let's say, DAO governance or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's not something we explore yet, DAO governance. Actually, talk to a lot of people about it today. So, yeah, that's still possible because the tally is posted on chain. So they can be automated. There's a hook after the tally is fully proved. On chain, there's the data. Something can happen. That's totally doable, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alessandro.